Is self-love selfish? Hey guys, it's John sitting here in the fabulous John of New Studios drinking a mug of John's Joe coffee. I hope you are enjoying your day. I'm having the 6-bean blend today, and that is really a good cup of coffee. I wanted to hop on and talk about self-love and how self-love, when you love yourself first, is the foundations of a joyful life. You know, it's so nice to be able to come here and sit down in the studio with a very nice, comfortable chair and a beautiful space and a clean desk and everything looking really pristine. That is one way I love myself. Is I get a comfortable chair and I set myself up out of love and compassion. You know, when I first started doing the John of New videos, I had a crappy little chair. My butt always hurt when I made videos because I'd make a whole bunch in a row, and now I've got this beautiful, comfortable chair, and I'm sitting here enjoying uh, making this video with a mug of coffee in hand, and all of that is part of self love. And in loving myself enough to do those things for me, my world is more joyful. My world is more loving, more caring. Now, what's so interesting is that people will often think that they shouldn't do things for themselves. They shouldn't take care of themselves first. And in reality, we all know the old adage, you know, the on the airplane, you know, put your own oxygen mask on before helping someone else. It's so true. If you haven't filled your tank, it's hard to fill others' tanks. It's hard to actually go out in the world and make change and help people if you yourself are not empowered to do so. And when you don't give to yourself, you're actually limiting your ability to help others because the more full you are, the more overflowing you can be to others. And the interesting thing of self-love is like even in relationships, when Nietzsche always said, when you want a successful relationship, you have to foster the friendship first. Well, fostering the friendship is about you enjoying your experience with this other person and vice versa. It's a friendship, and we give each other leeway that way. But the idea of fostering the friendship means I am creating a friendship here for myself and for them, right? So even the idea of self-love is in all aspects of your creation. So why does self-love matter? You know, life in general, your experience in life without self-love is like building a house on a swamp. You don't have stability. You don't have the creation of a platform to work from. The strength of any building is always its foundation. How is it built from the bottom up? And when you're going in your life to put good money into the foundation of your life, to put good material into the foundation of your life, is going to create a life that's well foundationed. When you don't give to that foundation of your life, which is yourself, your relationships, your work, and even your happiness suffer when you're not grounded in that idea that I am building a very strong foundation within myself. After time, if you don't build that strong foundation, cracks are going to start to appear, and they'll come in the form of self-doubt and insecurity, burnout, you know, and that oxygen mask examples is really about the idea of you creating that foundation so that you can have the capacity to support others. You know, if you don't do that, you're going to risk emotional exhaustion and unhealthy dependencies. You're going to end up in a situation where you don't feel like you can breathe because you don't have your mask on. You know, it's not indulgent to be self-loving. It's essential for emotional and spiritual well-being. It's one of those things that in our lives, if we don't take care of ourselves first, then it it gives you no ability to help others and be fully and authentically you because you're so given away yourself that you don't have much of yourself left to give. And you can't be authentically you because of the idea that that authentic self that is you is lost in this serving of others. and not giving yourself the equal love. If you're part of God like everyone is, what you ask yourself this question: what part of God is not worthy? What part of God is less worthy than any other? And what part of God is more worthy than any other? If we're all one with God, there is no hierarchy within God. There is no better or worse within God. We're all equally deserving. And to love yourself is actually giving yourself the same love you would give others. And and the core elements of self-love is to understand that you are unique. Accepting your own personal flaws, celebrate your quirks. I'm a big burly bearded man, and I'm a sensitive heart. I watched It's a Wonderful Life just the other day, and I bawled my eyes out when Harry Bailey showed up at the end, and no man is a failure who has friends. That whole scene, that final scene of that film, every year makes me cry. Right? That's a quirk for some people to see this big burly bearded man be that way, but I like to paint, I like to draw, I like superhero movies. There's a lot of things that people would think of as quirks, but that's what makes me me. That's what makes me unique. I like doing Yoda impersonations, right? That makes me unique. I have a unique experience in my life, and to put that out there boldly and authentically to say, yes, I had this experience as a past life is about my own personal self-love, because my own authenticity is self-loving. And when you shift from self-criticism to self-acceptance, you start to understand that you are giving yourself that foundation of a strong you. You know, that also that self-love is learning how to say no. When you people are not accepting your quirkiness or your who you are, and they want to mold you into something other, learn how to say no without guilt. You know, self-love is something you give to yourself, but often people expect you to give to them. And if you're a caring individual, you can be someone who wants to serve, and you're going to surround yourself with people who like to be served. And when you learn to say no, you learn to find a balance that's based in that friendship that Nietzsche talked about, rather than in subjugation and servitude. People will often say they need to protect themselves from this, or protect themselves, or have courage against this. And I say just align yourself with your personal values. Align yourself with who you are authentically. And when you are aligning yourself with yourself authentically, you start to very quickly discover that um, you have to take care of yourself. Right now, this past year has been a very, very, very busy year for me. I'm working 60, 70 hours a week. I'm making videos. I'm doing private sessions Monday through Friday. Um, I've written books, and just a whole bunch of stuff this year. My voice has really suffered, and I'm in the middle of Thanksgiving week. I have 5 days off, and I'm not making any videos or doing any private sessions because I'm literally taking a break. I also look at my future knowing I can't keep up this pace, and my self-love says I need to pull things back. That's why I looked at my own stresses, my physical voice starting to crack, and I said, okay, I need to reduce the amount of time I'm talking, and the majority of the time I'm talking is private sessions. And so I'm reducing my private sessions, and I need to find a way to replace that. So out of self-love, I created John Show Coffee so that I could still have income to keep a roof over my head. These are all actions taken out of self-love to love myself enough that, yes, I want to still affect the world in a positive way, but I reach more people through video than I do through the private sessions. And so reducing the private sessions down to fewer, and increasing my coffee business so that I can have that be a passive income that's making money to help me do this work on the videos, is why I'm doing this out of self-love. I'm understanding that when I'm in my office 60 to 70 hours a week, I'm not getting enough exercise. And so for my physical well-being, for my mental well-being, for my emotional well-being, I'm just reducing those hours, right? Yeah, I got to practice rest and recovery without feeling like I'm slacking. And I think that's what all of us should do. Many people I know have a hard time sleeping because they think they should be doing something. Well, the fastest thing you can do to fix that problem is make a list of what you need to get done in a day. And on the bottom of that list, write 8 hours of restful sleep and check that off when it's done. That's part of your work, is to make sure you're okay. Make sure that you are in a condition that you can continue to do stuff. You know, when you when you find yourself talking negatively about yourself and have that inner dialogue of self-doubt and self-worth that comes from your religious background or your parents or your brothers and sisters or even some of your friends maybe, replace that negative inner dialogue with, something that's more positive. I am no, I am not a slacker. I am not someone who's letting other people down. I am creating a life of equality for myself and others around me, and I'm taking care of myself as I would take care of others. And you start to say that you are worthy, because the more worthy you are, right, the more worth you can bring. And you can't be very worthy if you're too worn down to have worth. And that worth comes from you and the belief in your own self-worth. When you're casting aspersions like that, ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? You know, and when you realize that you're talking to yourself in ways that's not loving, then you're literally demeaning yourself. You're actually taking power away from yourself. Turn those beliefs around. You are absolutely 100% worthy of self-love. You are absolutely 100% worthy of that extra couple hours of sleep. You are absolutely self-worthy of bringing yourself down to a normal, you know, 40-hour work week instead of a 60 or 70 one, right? You have to realize that in itself is self-care. Feed your mind with the kindness that you would give to others. Nourish your body with foods that you know are healthy. Respect your own personal space of realizing you can't be used, but you are willing to help and you're willing to serve, but you're not subjugated or a servant to someone else. The more you have that self-love for yourself, there's a ripple effect. You start to see external validation, because now you're feeling better about yourself. You're saying things better about yourself. You're giving yourself that love and compassion that you wanted to give others. And what happens is the world starts to seem easier. The world starts to seem brighter, and you start to have a life where you're surrounded by an expectation of love that you gave to yourself. It's not selfish, and it's not greedy. It's taking care of yourself. Oftentimes people will look for others to give them validation for who they are. You don't need the validation. You don't need to have the words of others fill emotional voids, because there are no voids unless you choose to have them. The more self-love you have and the more place you set where you're like, no, I'm not doing that, or you just have those boundaries that you've set out of self-love, your relationship will become more healthy, you're more balanced, more drama-free. Yeah, you attract love by radiating love, confidence from within. That self-love empowers you to be your authentic self. And that authentic self is being put out into the world, and the people who will love you for your authentic self will see you and experience you and love you and come around you. That mask that you wear of servitude attracts people into your life who want to be served. The analogy of throwing a stone into a pond and the ripples go out. They affect every shoreline of that pond. That rock hitting that water affects every shoreline of that pond. And that's what your self-love does. The more you give yourself enough love to empower yourself, the more you get to empower others around you, and it affects everybody around you on every shore of the pond. It spreads to family and friends and the community and the person at the grocery store and that lady who's having a hard time getting up on the curb and you help. That self-love of yourself gives you the power to do those things and deliver that love to other people, and to let them know that they're worthy as well. You inspire other people with your own self-power. They start, well, I'm gonna be powerful too, and they start stepping up as well. When you love yourself, you're no longer chasing love. You're sharing it. You're being the delivery method of God by being that love. The world around you becomes a better place, starting with with how you treat yourself, with how you love yourself. That world around you becomes so much brighter. And there's a lot of ways to do this. Understand that in your world you have so much to appreciate about yourself. Your quirkiness that makes you laugh, that appreciate that, because that is a beautiful. Be grateful that you're unique, that you're different. Be grateful that you have that ability to create anything. You know, focus on your personal qualities, talents, and positive actions you've taken. Pat yourself on the back. Tell yourself you've done a good job. Tell yourself you're proud of how you handled that tough conversation today. Give yourself the space to live and forgive yourself, and let go of the mistakes you've made, and the words you've said wrongly, or any of those things that you beat yourself up about. Give yourself a space of grace where you can forgive yourself quickly, and understand, okay, I'm just a human, and I just had an experience. I still have those moments where I have to go, and I tell my son regularly, I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right. I'm wrong. And I am very quick to admit when I was wrong, and I apologize, because we're all in this world where we have to be imperfect, and those imperfections pop out occasionally. And it's not what you the intention of what you were doing. It's the reason why you did, and taking actions to resolve that situation. It's you being powerful within, powerful enough to say, "Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, can't do that," or I'm sorry I said that. I was stressed out." Those are moments of self-love, because you're loving yourself enough to say, "Yeah, I'm not going to hold a position of hate, anger, and vitriol when I know I've made a mistake." Self-love is being completely authentic, and owning up to you and what you do and how you are. Um, how would you comfort a friend in this situation? Would you tell them it's okay, and would you let it go? My best friend Tim and I, we've always say, you never have to apologize to me. Whatever's going on is going on. It's fine. You know, don't have time for me. Okay, we'll do it another time. You have to extend that same kindness to yourself. You have to understand that you are also in this world, processing through your own actions, and and experiencing a life where you are going to sometimes make a mistake. But if you prioritize joy in your life, and do something daily that brings you happiness and laughter, find something funny to laugh at, find a comedy, find, if you like dancing or singing in the shower, or hanging out talking to your funny friend on the phone, like I do with my friend Tim. You find those moments where you can just simply laugh. And that is a moment of recharge. That is a moment of pure love. A true belly laugh, it has the two key elements that every spiritual experience has. You're completely present, and you're completely fearless. When you are completely present and you are completely fearless, you are your 100% authentic self. How you feel when you are truly laughing is who you are. And you can give yourself enough self-care and self-love to put yourself into that state of laughter every day. Doing something, find something to laugh at every day. It's a powerful way to recharge yourself, and bring your own self-worth up, because every time you're truly laughing, you are your authentic self. Acknowledge that that's who you are. And the other times when you're not that way, those are just you reacting to the stimulus of the world. You know, the more small, consistent acts you create in the world of kindness, joy, and compassion, it builds into a foundation of self-love. That foundation we talked about earlier, the one that builds you a solid house. It's not about doing it perfectly. It's about doing it persistently. Make your world as predominantly joyful as possible through the acts of self-love, and then deliver that love outward. Remember this: you are worth it. There is no one more worthy than you. There is no one less worthy than you in the oneness of God. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to suffer for it. You don't need to chase it. You are worthy now, in the here and now, simply because you're here in the oneness of God. You are simply in this awareness of existence. And in that awareness of existence, you're the divine spark in God, and you are that divine spark within yourself. Recognize that self within you that is already perfect and whole. My son, when he was 6, said, Daddy, God told me he's in everything and everyone, and we control the God part inside of us. There's a divine spark inside of you that is perfect. And the more you feed that little spark, it grows into an amazing fire. And that fire lights the world around you. When you see someone who's overworking themselves, take a moment to tell them to act with self-love. Tell them to take a break. Buy them a drink. Sit them down. Make them laugh. Deliver gratitude and joy. And if you just pick one of those and commit to it, that would change your life. But if you did both of those things, you would suddenly have a life that's incredible. Love yourself. Stay kind to yourself. Light your light. Light your light within yourself. And that self-love for yourself and for individuals and communities, when you start giving that self-love, you can give to other individuals. You can give to other communities. You have all of the elements within yourself to create an amazing outcome in life. And all you really need to do is understand the foundation you're building is the foundation of a house that will house many with your love and compassion. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.